If you weren't a Detroit Pistons fan in the late 80s and early 90s, then you undoubtedly hated the Motor City Bad Boys. Led by a physically aggressive, defense-oriented core of players, the Detroit Pistons literally fought their way to back-to-back NBA championships in 1989 and 1990. And when it came to defending the Bad Boys moniker, no player was safe. Not Barkley, not Bird, and especially not Michael Jordan. Detroit's initial inability to successfully defend his airness led to Pistons head coach Chuck Daly instituting the Jordan rules. Daly vowed that Jordan himself would never defeat the Pistons again. Essentially, the Jordan rules indicated that number 23 was to be stopped by any means necessary. Ultimately, it was this mentality to win by any means necessary that allowed the Detroit Pistons to steamroll opponents. The 1988 and 1990 Detroit Pistons teams are considered by most to be some of the greatest in NBA history. The 88-89 Pistons dominated the regular season, finishing with a 63-19 record. The Bad Boys were largely responsible for the demise of the great Lakers and Celtics teams of the 80s. They defeated the Lakers for the organization's first championship in 1989. Prior to the 89 championship, the Lakers and Celtics combined for 8 total NBA championships from 1980 to 1988. Neither the Lakers nor the Celtics would win an NBA championship again until Shaq and Kobe combined to win the Lakers a championship in 2000. The world hated the Bad Boys, and here are 5 reasons why. At a long 6'11", former Pistons first-round draft pick John "Spider" Salley ruled the paint. Salley was a defensive juggernaut in Detroit and is among the Pistons' all-time leaders in shots blocked. No one was safe from the Spider. Though John Salley wasn't the Laimbeer or Rodman type in regard to ruthless aggressiveness, he made this list because of the specific role he played with the team. Salley was of sound mind at all times and was heavily relied on to rope in some of the other eccentric personalities that the Pistons boasted in that era. Salley made this list because back in those days it took a real bad boy to dominate the paint. Don't let Isiah's small stature fool you. In 1996, the NBA selected Thomas as one of the 50 greatest players ever to play the game. As Pistons team captain, Zeke was instrumental in Detroit's back-to-back championships. At only 6'2", Thomas played with great intensity, and he refused to be bullied. He played with a no-fear mentality throughout his career in Detroit, and you could find him at the center of most on-court altercations. One thing that the Bad Boys era taught us is that Isiah Thomas isn't afraid to throw the first punch. Rick Mahorn was considered to be one of the baddest boys of them all. He was never considered a spectacular athlete, but what he lacked in athletic ability, he made up for in physical tenacity. Mahorn was infamous for his ability to wreak havoc both on and off the court. As history taught us, you can attribute much of Dennis Rodman's antics later in his career to his time under the tutelage of Rick Mahorn during their time together in Detroit. Dennis Rodman was universally known for his fierce defensive and rebounding abilities. He was an absolute menace for opposing teams and completely tenacious in his pursuit of the basketball. It didn't take him long to establish himself as a preeminent defensive talent, earning consecutive Defensive Player of the Year awards while playing for the Pistons in the 1989-90 and the 1990-91 seasons. He played the game with a controlled sense of reckless abandon. Night in and night out, he put his body on the line. Rodman played many roles for the Detroit Pistons: instigator, intimidator, rebounder, scorer. It didn't matter. He did whatever he had to do to help the Pistons win the game. Rodman's effort and approach to each game always remained the same, regardless of importance. He played outside of himself and welcomed the challenge of defending opposing teams' greatest superstars. Dennis Rodman was the embodiment of the bad boy image and went down as a Detroit Pistons great. Bill Laimbeer was a man of war. He literally fought tooth and nail during his time with the Detroit Pistons and was the baddest of the bad boys. He was rough, dirty, and everything that we loved and others hated. No one in the history of the NBA played with more fire and desire than Bill Laimbeer. His antagonistic demeanor and physical play were the source of countless on-court altercations. For the most part, it was his contributions defensively that made Laimbeer a 4-time NBA All-Star, but it was his offensive prowess that is often overlooked. Laimbeer finished his career in Detroit as one of the organization's top 5 all-time scorers in team history, while he's also the Pistons' all-time leading rebounder. Tell us in the comments, Who is your favorite bad boy player in the NBA today? And if you enjoy this video, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. For even more basketball content, subscribe to our other channels, Free Dawkins and Vintage Dawkins, and follow us on social media.